I'm Brittany. Welcome to Sparkle Kitchen. I'm going to show you how to home brew kombucha. So the first step in home brewing kombucha is the SCOBY. And if you watched my first video, you know all about how to make a SCOBY. But if you didn't, there are 3 ways you can get a SCOBY. You can, 1, buy one. The internet has a variety of options for you. Number 2 is that you can get one from a very generous friend because they do grow pretty rapidly. And the third one is that you can make your own. And in order to do this, you can watch my part 1 of this kombucha series video and find all of that information out. And now I will show you the results of that first video and exactly how I grew that SCOBY. So in this jar right here, I have the SCOBY that I grew from a from a store-bought jar of kombucha. So I'm going to take it out. It's a little slimy. And this is the SCOBY. So I'm going to put it on this white plate so you can see it a little better. So it doesn't slide off. Alright, so that's the SCOBY that I grew, and it took about a week. And it was pretty easy. So I'm just going to leave that there. And actually, what will start to happen is you'll get 2 baby SCOBYs. So every time you brew a batch of kombucha, you'll get a new SCOBY. So I have 2 little SCOBYs that I got from that. And then I also have another SCOBY that a friend gave me, and it's a huge mama SCOBY. I made it a towel because I don't want to get this SCOBY-ness onto the mama SCOBY-ness because that would be bad. Alright, so let me take this off here and I'll show you this. Oh my gosh, it's giant. So this is the huge SCOBY. I think it's bigger than my plate. And this is what it'll look like over time. So my friend's been making kombucha for about a year, and it can get to that size if you have a huge crock that you can make kombucha in. Alright, so those are your options for SCOBYs. So once you have your SCOBY, what you'll next need to do is you'll need to brew up some sweet tea. And you have to use some very specific teas in order to make kombucha. This is the tea that I use. It's a black tea, and white tea will work and green tea will work as well. You just can't use herbal tea. And for the sugar, you just want plain old regular sugar. I chose organic just because I like organic things. But it can be just plain white sugar. Don't use brown sugar. Coconut sugar won't work. Maple sugar, no. It has to be this kind of very simple sugar. And it needs that kind of sugar because that is what the SCOBY enjoys eating. So once you have your tea, and I've already made a batch of tea, you want to make sure that tea cools completely because you want your SCOBY and the starter liquid that's going to come with the SCOBY and the tea to all be the same temperature. In order for proportions for this, this is 2 cups, and I put a 1/4 cup of sugar, and 2 tea bags are steeped in here. So it's really easy. You just take your starter kombucha, pour it into your jar, like so, and then take the tea and add that to the jar. So you want to mix both of those together first. And then you're just going to take your SCOBY. I'm going to put 2 in there just for kicks. Put it into the jar. So you can see that it's just floating around. It most of the time floats up to the very top while it's fermenting. And it can float around the jar, so if it floats around and it's not at the top, don't worry about it. It's totally okay. Alright, so everything's in the jar, and then you're going to take a coffee filter, or you can also use a thin sheet of tightly woven cotton. You just want to make sure it's breathable and that air can get in. And you put that on top, and I'm going to just secure it with a rubber band. So I'm just going to put that rubber band on there. And then it's good. And the reason we're doing this is because the SCOBY needs air, in order to ferment. So you want to make sure that there's air coming into your kombucha while it's brewing. And then you're going to take this lovely jar and you're going to put it on a shelf that is in a cool, dark place. You really don't want it to be above 75 degrees because the SCOBY will kind of go dormant, and if it's under that, it will go, if it's under 65 degrees, it will go dormant as well. So in between 65, 75 is kind of the sweet spot that you're looking for. And you want to put it on a shelf that is well ventilated, so make sure that there's enough height so that the air can travel through it. And you'll just put it there for about 2 weeks. Come back, check on it periodically, see how it's doing. You can pour out a little bit and test it and see how you like it. And once it gets to your liking, you will reserve 1 cup of the liquid and you'll put it in a jar like this, and you'll take the kombucha out and you'll put it in there, and then you'll seal it up with a lid and you'll put it in the fridge until you make your next batch of kombucha. And then you'll have your jar full of kombucha and you'll stick it in the refrigerator, and it will be absolutely delightful the next day. Well, that's pretty much it. For more tips and a step-by-step guide with photos, you can go over to sparklekitchen.com and find all of that information there. And you can also learn how to make kombucha with really exciting flavors too, like ginger and mango. Got some really good stuff over there for you. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe and leave any comments or questions below, and I'll be happy to answer those. All right, enjoy!